Hello, dear sports family. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in today. We have a very special guest, our first male athlete, Cortlan Castle. Cortlan is a Waco native where he attended Midway High School and was a four-year letterman. He was unanimously named the 2020 District MVP, along with being named the 2020 Perfect Game Preseason Underclass All-American. During his first season at Baylor, Cortlan was named to the Big 12 Commissioner's Honor Roll in the fall of 21. Cortlan, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Of course. Okay, we're just gonna kind of get into it. So how's your summer going? First off, how's Waco's summer?
Waco's summer is a little bit boring, to be honest.
Okay,
it's just
fair.
sad because you get here, you have your first year of college, you meet a bunch of new people, and then they all leave, so you're just kind of here with less people. So it's kind of boring, but we're almost done. So
yeah, I get that. I don't know. I kind of like it though because it's all the athletes.
Yeah.
So it's like we're just all hanging out, but I mean all of like our regular friends, I guess you could say, are gone. So like that's tough.
With baseball, everyone is in a different state playing summer ball.
Yes.
So it's like some people are playing summer ball, but if you're not, there's only a few of us here. So it's kind of boring, but it is nice to have time to yourself sometimes. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's good. So you are from Waco.
Yes.
What is it like going to college in your hometown?
Yes, I love it. So both my parents went to Baylor. They just went to Baylor, stayed in Waco. So I've been here my whole life and just always been a Baylor fan. And to be honest, like kids at my high school, they didn't want to go to Baylor because they were from Waco.
Yeah.
But to me, it was like the best option because my house is 15 minutes away. My mom can help me with my laundry, free food at my house. So I love going to Baylor and living in Waco at the same time. That's
awesome. I feel like for me, when I first got here, I was like, oh, like I'm so ready to be out of the house. Like 2.5 hour drive, like that's totally fine. But I totally understand that now. Now I'm like, okay, Mom, like, can you come do my laundry?
Exactly.
Can I have a home cooked meal? Like I do miss that.
After a long week, I'm telling you, it's nice to be home for a little bit.
Yes, for sure. That's awesome. So walk us through the recruiting process. Obviously, Baylor is like very special to you.
Yes.
How'd you get here? Did you want to go anywhere else? Tell us about it.
Yes. So I started getting recruited my sophomore year of high school. I was going to a lot of different camps, and I had just changed summer ball teams to a team in Dallas, so there was a little bit more exposure there.
Yeah.
And I obviously always wanted to go to Baylor just because of the legacy, and I'm from Waco. That's where I wanted to go. But for the longest time, Baylor was not reaching out to me. I was talking to other schools in Texas, like UT, Houston. Like those were schools that I thought I was going to have to go to because Baylor wasn't reaching out. But it's kind of an interesting story. I had been on the same flight as the Baylor head coach 3 or 4 times in the same summer.
Wow.
So it was always like an awkward, like, hey, coach, like, good to see you. I'm not sure what the rules are, if I can talk to you or not. So it was really weird, but I knew that I would see them in the stands and they were watching my games. And it felt like every time they came to watch me, I had my best game.
Okay.
But they still never reached out. And so I started talking to my parents, and I was like, I was up late one night and I was like, man, I really want to go to Baylor, but I just don't think it's going to work out. Like they must have too many catchers or something and it's not going to work out. And then I'm not kidding, 5 minutes later, I was talking to my parents about it. It's 10:30 at night. My summer coach texted me and was like, hey, the Baylor assistant coach wants you to come on a visit this week. Like,
yes.
And so I was freaking out. And it was definitely a God thing because just 5 minutes later after I was talking to my parents about it, and then I went on a visit to Baylor that week on a Wednesday because I could come during the week. I live 12 minutes away, right?
Yeah.
So I went on a visit and I committed to Baylor that day on the spot.
Dang.
Because that's where I wanted to go. There was nowhere else I wanted to go. And what was funny was I had a bunch of visits planned for the rest of the summer. I was supposed to go to Houston, supposed to go to South Alabama, possibly Pepperdine. And with South Alabama especially, I was like, I had flights booked there.
Dang,
and then I committed to Baylor and had to call them and cancel my flights and do all of that. So it was crazy, but it was definitely a God thing.
That's such a cool story.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, I feel like that happened to me a lot on club tournaments.
Yeah.
Like being on the flight, you're like, am I allowed to say something? Like, this is so awkward. Like they were just on my court.
Right.
Wow.
So it was weird for me because the coaches at Baylor, their sons went to my high school, so I see them around everywhere. But it's so awkward because you don't know what to say. There's a bunch of weird rules, so it was always really weird. It's like we know each other kind of thing, but you can't like say too much. So it was kind of weird, but it worked out.
Dang. And so your sister, were y'all in school at the same time together?
Yes.
Okay. Did that
Yes.
factor in your decision at all? Or
Well, I mean, it was cool, but like that didn't really play much of a role. I just knew
Okay.
I wanted to go to Baylor.
Yeah.
But my oldest sister graduated from Baylor 3 years ago, and then my other sister, she just now graduated from Baylor, and my little brother wants to come to Baylor too.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. So
Yeah.
cool. So what's been your favorite thing about playing for Baylor? I mean, like this is your dream. So like what's your highlight?
Yeah. My highlight is probably seeing people in the stands that I felt like have been a part of my life for a long time,
Yeah.
like that are just Waco people. Because growing up here, it seems like everyone's a big Baylor fan,
Yeah.
and we have family friends. But I would say like going to baseball games and seeing those people I've known my whole life in the stands is like such a special feeling.
Wow.
So that's probably one of my favorites.
That's so cool. I think for
Yeah.
me too, like my grandparents went here, and so
Yeah.
being able to look up in the stands
Yeah.
and like see them, like that's such a first surreal
Right.
moment. Like it's real, like it's happening. Like
Right.
the dream, you are literally living the dream.
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like we're pretty similar on the Baylor legacy kind of thing. We both wanted to go here.
Yes, bleed
So,
green and gold.
Yes,
I love it.
100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's also other catchers on the roster.
Yes.
I know for me, once coming to college, like you're competing with your teammates, but you're also like working towards the same goal.
Right.
How do you find that balance? Was that a struggle at first, especially being a freshman competing with upperclassmen? How was that for you?
No, I think it is scary coming in and knowing you have to earn your spot because
Yeah.
you come from high school where you're kind of known, you were just a senior, like you're probably one of the better players on your team. And then you get to college and there's a bunch of people with more experience than you, they're older than you. So for me, it was scary for sure.
Yeah.
But I think what helped me become friends more than just competitors with the kids I was competing with is probably outside of the field. We were all hanging out all the time.
That's good.
So it was like I had a personal relationship with the other catchers, not just like an athletics-based relationship. So that helped, but it was scary at first. Like the fall, trying to get your name out there and compete, and that is scary.
No, for sure. I think the same thing with me. Like these girls, I had watched them play the previous year, and
Yeah.
like they were studs, and now they're like wanting to be friends, and I'm like,
Yeah.
are you sure?
Oh
Like
my
I'm like
gosh.
competing with you.
Yes.
Like it's really tough.
Yes, that is perfectly described. I remember I would come to games when I was younger, and I would see Jared McKenzie playing center field and just got drafted by the Nationals.
Yeah.
He's like a really good player, and I just remember like getting there, and I was hanging out with Jared, and I was like, oh my gosh, me and Jared are friends.
We're on the same team.
Yeah, we're on the same team. So it's just weird to go from watching them in the stands, not really having a relationship with them, to all of a sudden you're at his house hanging out with
Yeah.
them, which is really cool.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, it is such a surreal moment, but I think it shows a lot of like your character and who you
Yeah.
are too, because like you're having to grow up pretty fast. I feel like we were both on teams where it was kind of like a big age gap, like a lot of
Yeah.
seniors and then like a lot of
Yeah,
freshmen.
yeah.
So you're hanging out with like these 20-year-olds and you're like
Right.
trying to have like same conversations. You know, it's just,
Yeah.
it's different. It can be hard.
It can be hard to relate to the guys that are a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the baseball guys made it pretty easy, so it was good.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So coming in as a freshman, you did play quite a bit during preseason, which was so awesome.
Yes.
I know that we met during bear camp. And
Yes.
so I was like, this is
Love
so
bear
fun
camp.
that like
Yeah.
our little freshman squad is like
Yeah.
actually like doing it. So that was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
What was going through your head? That's like you said, a really big jump from
Right.
high school to college. How did you keep up relationships? What were you thinking?
So in the fall, I really didn't think I was going to play that much.
Okay.
I was nervous in the fall. I hadn't done super well. It was also new to me. The game
Yeah.
was way faster than it was before. And then we hit Christmas break. I was able to take a deep breath, settle down a little bit, no practice during Christmas break. Then we get back and it's springtime, and I really, really did well. But I think it was because I knew what to expect a little bit more.
Okay.
And so I finally got an opportunity in the spring, and I started doing well, which I was so excited about, but I was so nervous every time I went out there.
Yeah.
Like, I was so nervous because I remember just being on the field and turning behind me, and there's people in the stands, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this
Yeah.
is scary. But, you know, it was hard at first in the fall, but I felt like once I knew what to expect, it ended up turning out okay.
Yeah, I think that's so good. I think it takes time, and I think you had nerves because like it matters to you and it's important. And so you want to like succeed and you want to excel and like play good for your teammates. But definitely that moment of realizing like the stands are full. Like for us, like you can practice in the Farrell Center so many times, like nobody there.
Oh yeah.
But until it is like 10 minutes before game day, you walk out, crowd, like it's a crazy experience. And so to handle those nerves, it takes a special person, I feel like.
And to go off that, I think one of the reasons why I was so nervous is because your teammates, at least freshman year, you're just now meeting, getting to know them, so you have a relationship with them. And so for me, it was always kind of scary because I didn't want to do bad for my teammates. You know, like these people that I just now I'm creating a relationship with. Whereas high school, like the kids you're playing with, you've known your whole life. So if you do bad, oh well, you've known them your whole life.
Yeah, fair.
So that was honestly one of the scarier parts is like, I just want to do good for my teammates. Like I don't want my teammates to like, you know, have to do bad because I did bad. Yeah. You know, so.
No, that's a perfect way to put it. And I mean, like, you're trying to, like, make a name for yourself. And, like you said, you just came from, like, being on top to where now everybody is good. And you're competing in, like, those small percentages. So it's tough. And I think a lot of people don't talk about it for freshmen playing. Like, you're literally just thrown in there. And, like, you got to figure it out.
Yeah,
so.
You have to figure it out. Yeah.
That's awesome, though. Yeah. That's really exciting. So for this next season or off season, so like you said, y'all are in summer, what are some personal goals that you have? And then what do you want your team's mindset to be when y'all are training?
Yes. Okay. Some personal goals I have is probably to develop a little bit more confidence. Okay. I feel like because this is my second year, I know what to expect a little bit more. Yeah. Playing catcher, I have to be a leader on the field.
For sure.
But I felt like it held me back a little bit because I was a freshman, so I was kind of intimidated to, you know, control the field. So I think one thing I want to work on is probably being more of a leader, being more confident, being more vocal, which I think is something I can do. And then also I want to get down a routine of working on my own. So I think it's easy to like go in the cages and hit, but you don't really have a routine. You're just kind of in there. Yes. And so I want to develop a routine and like really try and get better because I know that's what all the pros do. So that's my personal goals, but I think the team's mindset should be to just cause chaos.
I love it.
Just cause chaos.
Yes.
Like no matter who we're playing, we're a team that it's not going to be easy. Just cause chaos. Yeah. So I think if we can cause chaos, we can win a lot of games. We have a lot of new guys coming in, which is cool. So I think we can cause a lot of chaos, but if we have that mindset, I think it'll be pretty efficient.
I love that. Two things that I love that you said is like one, finding your role, but then two, creating a routine.
Yeah.
I think it's so tough to come in. And I mean, like I was a setter in high school. So like you're a leader, you're a catcher on your high school team. Yeah. You're a leader. Yeah. And so then to come into this new program where everything in your mind is telling you like, I got to lead, like I got to find your role, but you are literally probably pushed back to the back seat. Yeah. And so it's tough to try to find like your purpose and learn to grind and to continue to work hard for your teammates, but you're a little bit out of your role, which like that's so hard, especially as a freshman. And then creating a routine. I think you said it perfectly. I know for us, like in open gyms, like we have open gym on Wednesday and like you can go in and if you want, but it's not mandatory. And so it really takes a special person to go in, put in the extra work, create that routine that all the pros are having to take that next step to increase your game to the next level.
And sometimes it's like no exaggeration. It's hard whenever you're in school, you're in season, it is hard because those days are long, those weeks are long. You might have a test that week. It's hard sometimes. But what I thought was cool is I had guys older than me. You might have seen Kyle Nevin, Jack Pineda, and Jared McKenzie all got drafted. Yeah. And those guys had a routine down to the T.
That's awesome.
So I was able to see them do their thing, their routine. So that helped me out a lot for sure as well.
That's awesome. What do you think was the biggest, like, what helped you create a routine with like school, baseball, nutrition? Like what was the hardest part about figuring all that out?
The hardest part was probably almost like getting the energy to want to go and do the baseball stuff.
Yeah.
Because fair. I just think like you have a long practice and then you have classes or like maybe you had a 6 a.m. lift that morning is what we did in the fall. And so it would get to the point where like I have an opportunity for extra work and I'm like, man, like I'm tired,
I want to sleep.
I want to sleep. Like it is time to sleep. But I think kind of what helped me is struggling a little bit in the fall made me open my eyes and realize a little bit, okay, like I need to go in and get stuff done and be energized. And so I think the struggle in the fall and like the kind of the unknown is what helped me out a lot.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I think time management is one thing that like you do have time to fit it all in,
Yeah.
whether you think you do or
Yeah,
not.
no,
and
yeah.
so it's like planning down to the T. And
Right.
I feel like a lot of times they would talk to us like before in bear camp about like, okay, you have like this 11 o'clock class when you have
Right.
practice at 1, like you have to take lunch with you because
Yeah.
you don't have time. You know,
Yeah.
just stuff like that,
Yeah.
that you're having to learn how to take care of yourself.
Right.
And like your mom doesn't pack your lunch for you anymore.
That's so true.
So you're having to do stuff like that and just
Yeah.
figuring out how to live on your own. And it is a full-time job. I mean, we're student athletes.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a lot, and to be good.
Yeah.
You know, you can be a student athlete, go through the motions,
Right,
but to be
right.
good is one thing.
That's so true.
As well.
Yeah, I remember being in bear camp and thinking, oh, it's not going to be that hard.
No, there's
you know
no
what I
way.
mean? Time manage, it's easy, right? Like go to practice, go to class, easy money, right? And then I'm here in the fall and I'm like, man, this is hard.
It's a grind.
Yeah, it is a grind. But I like what you said, though. There actually is time. Like you do have time for
Yeah.
whatever. You just have to manage it well enough to have that time.
Yes,
But
for sure. It's tough, guys. It's tough, but you can do it.
yeah, you can do it.
So y'all have recently had a coaching change. Something that I did not realize is that a lot of guys for baseball will jump into the portal, I guess, for like a security reason. What was your thought process through that? Did you go into the portal? How did you
Yeah.
handle that? And it's tough. It's not something that I realized that baseball did.
Yeah. The portal has been so common with baseball.
Okay.
This summer especially. And I think it was just created last year or something like that 2 years ago. So it's fairly new. But we had like 20 guys or something eventually up to this point enter the portal. And I did not enter the portal because I knew I wanted to be at Baylor because I love Baylor.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So for me, it was more about Baylor itself, the relationships I've created here, what Baylor means to me, you know, Baptist school. It wasn't just I'm here for Baylor baseball. So I think my mindset going into it was, you know what, like I just love Baylor. I'm going to stay with Baylor. But it's hard because I see all of my friends entering the portal and some of them are at different schools now. So I had 2 kids I was supposed to be living with, my 2 best friends, and they both transferred away. So it's been really, really sad, but it's part of it now. So we'll work through it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing you said that I love is like you have to go to a school where it's more than just your sport. And I think a lot of people do not realize that. And with the craziness of the portal today, I mean, people are just jumping in and out and going everywhere. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
But to play like the broken leg test of like, okay, if I'm going to go to school here, if volleyball or baseball were to go away, would I still really want to go to school here?
Right.
And that's important. Like at the end of the day, like you're gonna be able to call one school your alma mater. I think that's huge to be able to want to stay connected. I know watching my parents, my dad played golf here and watching him still stay connected to his alma mater and like come back to events and see his old teammates, like that's huge. And so I think it's very mature of you to realize that as well as that like baseball is not everything.
Right. I like that a lot. I think it's important, like you said, to go to a school where you would want to go to school there regardless of your sport. I like that a lot. That's true.
It's really tough. So with that coaching change, have you been able to talk to your new coach?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
awesome.
yes. So coming from MCC, McLennan Community College, where he came from, when I was younger, I used to do lessons up there all the time because junior college has a lot of different rules than Division I does. So I could never do lessons at Baylor because it was like recruiting problems or whatever it was. So I always did lessons at MCC.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I knew I had a relationship with the coaches, but it wasn't like we were best friends or anything like that. And Coach Thompson, I've seen him around a lot, you know, throughout his time coaching at MCC. So we knew each other, which was really cool for me. Just to have a guy come in that I know is an awesome coach, an even better person, always a player over baseball kind of coach. And so that was cool for me to have a previous relationship. I say relationship like we knew each other, but we weren't best friends or anything. But it's cool to have him here. It really is.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think we were talking about it with like some of the producers earlier, but like having your head coach, they're like, what were you to do? Like to get into the portal, what would it take you to get into the portal? And I was like, my head coach would have to leave, you know? 'Cause you just create such a great relationship with them and they get to mentor you through like the short time in your life. So it's really important to have a good relationship, I feel like, with your head coach. You want to be surrounded by people that are going to pour into you.
Right. And so what's scary is a lot of guys, whenever it comes to a new head coach, a coach comes in that's never even heard of one of the players on the team because the old coach is the one who recruited him.
Yes.
You know, so it's really, really nerve-wracking. And so that's why I think I got lucky, is because I knew him.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys on the team, they're at different places now, like, and this happens all over the nation with new coaches. New coach comes in and he doesn't know who you are. So it's just kind of tough luck.
That is hard. When will y'all's roster officially be set? Do you know? Is there like a certain date?
The roster will be set like in the spring, I'm pretty sure. I know it's not in the fall, but in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, so probably close to season.
Okay, so
but I know that we're supposed to have, word on the street is we're supposed to have 57 guys right now, and then we have to cut it down to 35 guys.
Dang.
Yeah.
That is also something that I did not realize about baseball is like they make a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
Because for volleyball, at least, like you're here. You know, like you're not like secure.
Yeah.
And it's our scholarships are year to year, so it's kind of you have that security. But like baseball, like 57, that is insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
Dang, and y'all had a large roster last year too.
Yeah, last year we had a large roster, but last year I think you were able to have 40 guys on the roster. It was still a COVID thing. Now it's back down to 35.
Okay.
And I think we had 47 or something, but now we have 57. So it's a little bit different. But
Dang.
Yeah. It will make for a competitive fall, which I think will make us all better.
Yes, I agree. I think last year we had 23.
Yeah.
And so it was very much of like our second team is probably one of the best teams in the nation as well.
Yeah.
You know, like you're competing with each other. And I think that's what builds a great program is you want depth. You want great backups. You know, at the end of the day, that's what you want.
How many are y'all supposed to have on the roster? Is 23 a lot or is?
Yes. Last year, 23 was tough. This year we're going to have 15.
Oh, wow.
So it's
that's
tight
different.
and cozy. Love it. We're all the same age.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
Wow.
Yes,
that's crazy.
It's going to be great. So you talked a little about your family, but I have run into your family at church a lot, which has been so sweet just to kind of see them, familiar faces. I did not realize how much I was going to miss my family away from home.
Yeah.
So to be able to like to connect with another family, I think is super sweet.
My family's big Faith Lynch fans. They are.
That just made my day.
Yeah.
That's the best. Oh gosh. Can you speak on your faith a little bit and how you incorporate that into your playing style?
Yeah. So I was always pretty strong in my faith growing up. We always went to church. I always felt pretty confident in my faith. And then once I got to college, I was kind of nervous about it because I was nervous if the other guys on the team were strong in their faith and if I was going to be an odd one out or how that was going to work. But I was so pleasantly surprised because I came to Baylor and almost all of my teammates, especially the older guys, were so invested in faith that it made it easy for me and made it easier for all the younger guys to do the same. And the baseball team has a minister, Stanton Corley, if you know him.
Yeah.
And so it's been a blessing to have him around because he's always a source to talk to and helps guide you through your faith and has different opportunities for you to help grow your faith. So I think Baylor has done a great job of giving me opportunities to help grow me in my faith. So it's been pretty awesome.
That's one thing that I also did not realize coming to college of. I grew up in the church. My family did such a great job, but to make my faith my own, it was something that I was not expecting to happen. And like you said, Baylor does a great job of allowing us to have like those platforms of FCA. We all have a team chaplain, which is not normal at every school. And so to be able to go to someone for advice and to know it's going to be pure, authentic, Christ-given advice is so nice and just very comforting. Because like you said, the craziness of seasons, you can start to lose yourself. And so to have that background is great.
Yeah. So I just think that in the fall, it was kind of hard because you're all focused on baseball. You want to do so well. You want to compete. You're trying to earn a spot. For me, it was kind of easy to forget about faith. Like, okay, like we'll worry about it another time. But I think my struggles on the field and struggles with time management all brought me back to faith because I know that that's what really matters at the end of the day. And so I think it all helped me kind of draw closer to my faith.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks for sharing. That was awesome.
And also, sorry, back to what you were saying is, I think in high school for me, it was easier, or when I was younger, because I have my parents like pushing me to do these different youth things, go to these different, churches and get involved. But once you get here, it's like, it's up to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can choose to go to these different events, these different organizations. It's all up to you. So I think it gets a little bit hard, but once you kind of figure that out, it's really nice.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, just like if I have free time, I
Yeah.
want to sleep. I don't want to go and do the extra mile,
Exactly.
like take the extra step. So it can be tough.
Yeah.
But like we said, you can make it work.
Yeah.
It can happen.
You can.
So we did this last time, but I've been putting the questions up on the forum for people to ask away. And so Ashley Hodge, one of the owners at Sikkim 365,
Yes.
would love to hear how your first conversation with Mitch Thompson went.
Yes.
And what were some of the key selling points to play for him?
Yeah. Okay. So I have two different responses. So the first time Coach Thompson talked to all of us was on a Zoom meeting with Mac Rhodes.
Oh, nice.
And it was really, he did kind of a speech, and it was just jaw-dropping.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he talked about one of his biggest things was always putting the person before the player, which was huge.
Yeah.
Because it's so comforting to know that you're loved by your coach and you have a relationship with your coach outside of how you perform on the field.
Yeah.
I think it also makes you more confident when you're on the field.
For sure.
And so he gave a huge speech about how he's always going to be person over player, which was great. And then he always talked about how, his goal with relationships with the players on the team, and he said this is for you to be able to go to his funeral and hug his daughters and tell him that he was the best coach you've ever had.
Wow.
So I just feel like the way he talked about his intentions with that kind of made everyone on the team come together and, say like, look, this guy's the real deal. This is going to be a good time. And he was also really strong on, his faith and how he wanted to help guide us to be stronger in our faith. And he was talking about how he is in his faith. And so it's cool to hear him talk about that. But my first, just me and Coach Thompson conversation, he was giving everyone a call like 24 hours after that big Zoom meeting. He had just been announced as the new head coach, and it was like 10:30 at night or something. And so he was up late calling guys, but he called me, and I caught myself with this massive smile on my face, just because he brought so much energy. He was laughing, and then like I mentioned earlier, it was cool because I know him. He knows who I am, so it's like, it's just cool to kind of see our worlds connect.
Yeah.
We're not just running into each other at a random Waco restaurant anymore. It's like, you're my head coach. I'm playing for you now. So I had a huge smile, and, we just talked about how excited we both were and how being at Baylor was his dream. And it was a pretty wholesome conversation, but it was awesome.
Yeah, for him to take time out of his day to individually call all of y'all, like that is huge. Not every head coach does that.
Yeah,
so
that's
for
so
him
true.
To do that, like, wow.
That's a lot of phone calls. Like I said, 57 guys. That'll keep you up late if you're calling everybody.
Gosh, it just provides me a lot more like security and comfort in Baylor, knowing that they are going to bring in good people. Like the fact that like with the craziness of everything, like the transfer portal, it's same for coaches. Like jobs open up, they can go. And so just to like be able to trust like Mac Rhodes and that staff, and knowing that like they're going to bring in good people and that are going to care about us more than just athletes that's huge.
That is huge. And we had this, once the other coach left, we had this weird limbo of time where we didn't have a head coach. So you'd go to the field and there'd be no one there. It was really weird. But I think that's what made it so cool to have Coach Thompson be named the head coach, because it went from a really weird time to now everybody on the team's coming together and smiling and excited. So that was really cool.
I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And then Polo Bear asked, what is your favorite barbecue joint?
Favorite barbecue joints. Okay. Probably VTEX, honestly.
Yes.
That's maybe a basic answer, but I do think VTEX does it the best. I like the gut pack. I do.
Yes, the gut pack. Okay, funny story. My 14th birthday, I was like, I want to like have a gut pack or whatever, because I'm from Houston, so we were not going to make the drive up to Waco to get
Yeah.
a gut pack on like a Thursday night. Like, it just like was not going to happen. So we made homemade gut packs
No
at
way.
home for
Wow.
my birthday. I was like, it's that
What
good.
a birthday.
Yes.
That's
I was like in the
awesome.
styrofoam box and
Yeah.
everything. Like, that's the way to do
Yeah.
it. I love that. And he also asked, what is your favorite study spot on campus?
Study spot on campus. Interesting question. I've been to Moody a few times,
Okay.
but I say probably my room is my favorite study
Okay.
spot, honestly. It's a simple answer, but probably just my
Yeah.
room. But Moody has good places.
Yeah.
The Moody Library has good places. What's yours, actually?
Gosh. I like to go to a coffee shop. So like
Okay,
Dichotomy
yeah.
or like Common Grounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been to Magnolia once, and I love
Okay.
Magnolia.
Yeah.
I love Magnolia.
I
Like,
love
being
it.
from Waco, I love it. So
That's so cool.
That's a cool place.
Do you feel like Waco is like a tourist destination now? Like, what is your opinion on it being from Waco?
Yes,
Okay.
but it's just, for me, it's so weird when I see tourists lining up outside of Magnolia, because
Yeah.
it's like, I've seen this for years and years now. It's
Yeah.
not that cool, but, well, it is cool, but it's just funny to see people coming from, there's a lot of old ladies that come from other states, so it's kind of funny, but I do think Waco is growing, and it is a tourist spot, I'll say, but it's going to be more of one soon.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting, but seriously, like the cupcakes, they're good, but like to stand
Yeah.
in a 2-hour line,
Yeah.
absolutely
oh,
not.
I know. Yeah. There's ladies flying in from like Washington or something,
Yeah.
or they're coming from New Jersey to see Magnolia, which I think is funny, but it's cool that a lot of people think it's really cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So for the last question, for everyone that comes on, we'll be asking them this. If you were to write a letter to sports and you could say anything you wanted to say, what would you say to sports?
I would say, dear sports, thank you for giving me lifelong lasting friendships. Thank you for keeping me busy, and thank you for teaching me a lot of life lessons that I can take into the rest of my life.
That's perfect. Thanks for coming on.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you all enjoyed that conversation with Cortlan just as much as I did. Make sure that you stay updated with everything Dear Sports by subscribing and following us on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. All of that will be on our link tree. Thank you for listening. Until next time, this is Faith Lynch with Dear Sports.